Today we're going to start looking at product development of a reduced sodium soup. So you are going to be working with a partner or a team, or if you're virtual, possibly working on your own on this assignment. If you are virtual and you have friends that are virtual, feel free to collaborate and work together. That is fine. But you need to be thinking like you are a product development scientist for a food company. So your job is to listen to the input of what your consumers or your customers are asking for and trying to develop a product that will fit their needs and what they are looking for. So when you read through this first part of the packet, you're getting information about what your customers are asking for. So with the evolving nutrition focus on processed foods, the company current home-style soups could greatly benefit from an expansion of their current lineup. Our company, as well as the rest of the food industry, has been under some intense pressure with regards to the nutritional content of the processed foods that are on shelf. Current consumer advocate groups are calling specifically for a drastic reduction in sodium. So you might underline that. It is thought that Americans consume an excess of 3,400 milligrams of sodium a day. This is far more sodium than exceeds the recommended 23 milligrams from the RDI. It is estimated that 75% of the average consumer's intake comes from packaged food. Apart from consuming for the functional attributes of salt, sodium chloride, the major challenge for you will be to create, so this is your major challenge, create a lower sodium product without reducing customer flavor acceptance. Most of our classic soups have a 850 milligram per can of soup, and our new one cannot exceed 400 milligrams. So underline that. Your soup that you choose to make cannot have more than 400 milligrams of sodium in it. Overall, our soups are broadly appealing. They are purchased by young professionals looking for something nutritious and easy to eat at work, as well as a lot of boomers who are either looking for a quick meal or who are limited in the kitchen. We feel that the new soup with lower sodium can really reach the boomer audience. We are often conscientious of the foods they eat in relationship to their health. The U.S. market for low sodium, low salt, or no sodium, no salt, and no sodium or salt added products was estimated at $21.8 billion in 2009. The majority of that is to health-conscious boomers. Some items that are important to boomer consumers besides low sodium include high fiber, low cholesterol, a variety of fruits and vegetables, and often some sort of product nostalgia. So reminding them of something they ate when they were young. Those are all key features that you need to consider when choosing what soup you make as a team. The IHUT, or in-home use test, data for our soup portfolio is an 8. Marketing launch target is to be liked equally as much or better than our portfolio average. So what that means is they send out their samples, they have it tested, and they're basically evaluating it on taste, flavor, appearance, all the things that we look at in eating our food, and it has to score an 8 or higher. So you want to highlight that. Okay, so your goal here is to make a reduced sodium soup. It hopefully would have some of these other characteristics like high fiber, low cholesterol, fruits and vegetables, and product nostalgia. So making these baby boomers feel like it relates to something they ate when they were young. Okay, so that is essentially your task. So here it explains it in a little bit more simplified terms. Your product must meet the following guidelines. Your product must not exceed 400 milligrams of sodium per 250 gram serving. So one serving cannot have more than 400 milligrams of sodium. Your product cannot exceed $2 in ingredients and packaging costs. So it can't cost more than $2 to make it. And your product must contain 2 of the following, not all 3, but you have to have 2 of the following categories. So you need to have 3 or more vegetables, 3 grams of fiber, or 10 grams of protein. So any combination of those two in your recipe, accompanied with less than $2 to make it and less than 400 milligrams of sodium, and that is the soup product that you'll be making. So when you look here, these are essentially 3 different recipes that are being provided as options. Okay, we have a French onion soup, a tortilla soup, and a potato soup. We're going to look at just the French onion for our example first. So our French onion has 3 grams of fiber. Okay, that is one thing on our list. So check yes, it meets one of those. It also needs to have 3 or more vegetables or 10 grams of protein. It does not have 10 grams of protein or 3 grams of 3 or more vegetables. But the IHUT, the in-home test, is at an 8. So it meets some of the categories, but not all. So I would cross that one off. That is not a good choice to be making for your product development. I'm going to leave the other 2 as for you to kind of look through with your team to see if those 2 are soups that you would be interested in making. Okay, as you go scroll down, you'll see this first chart is the nutrition and cost data for all of the different ingredients that might be in the soup. So this is kind of your reference sheet. You continue to scroll, and here's the recipe for French onion soup. I've already told you that based on this information here, it does not meet the requirements. So you don't have to do anything with that French onion soup. Okay. When we look at the tortilla soup, I'm going to kind of work through this a little bit with you, just this first one. So it says chicken broth, and we're using data for 88. So basically our serving here is 88. So I'm going to go back to my reference page, and I'm going to find chicken broth on here. And chicken broth is in this first line that I'm trying to highlight. Chicken broth is for 1 gram, so you're going to have to multiply that out. But our fat is 0.007 grams. So we're going to scroll down to the tortilla soup. And we're going to put, for total fat, 0.007 grams times 88. So we have to multiply it by 88 because we're using 88 servings of it in our product. So we'd fill that in. We're going to do that same thing all the way across, even for the cost. Then, once we've filled out this table, then I'm going to look at the fat. So I'm going to look at the total fat, and I'm going to total that up, and I'm going to put that total right here. I'm going to do the same thing for carbs and the same thing for protein. Then, to determine the calories, I get 9 calories per gram from fat, so I will put a 9 in this section here, and I will multiply it across. For carbs and protein, I get 4 calories per gram, so I'll put a 4 here and a 4 here, multiply it across to get my total calories from those categories. Then when I add all of these calories together, it gives me the total calories for my entire can of soup. Okay. So you're going to do that for these two soups to try and determine which of these 2 recipes fits the requirement of what your consumers are looking for to make a new product. Once you've narrowed down your recipe, you're going to start answering some questions about how you made your determination about which of the soups was best for what your customers wanted. And you're also going to make the product labels. We will get into that a little bit more the second day of working. But just for some helpful information, these are some potential labeling options that you can use when making your principal display panel. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email, and I will do my best to answer them and help you along the way.